What is going on, everyone? Welcome to the Investing Bros live show, and we have got another great show lined up for you on this fine Friday, September 13th. I did just realize it's Friday the 13th. That's not a good start. But you know what? Despite it being kind of a scary day on the calendar, it's a great day for crypto. But the big question is this rally going to sustain over the weekend and into next week, or was this the top? Is it time to be taking profits? We're going to give you our opinions on that and a whole lot more. We do have a handful of news to get through and a lot of charts to take a look at because crypto is pumping. But we're going to cover that on the other side of the intro. First, you got to make sure to smash the like and hit subscribe because now it's time for the intro.
Yes.
T-Shroom. T-Shroom, how are you doing today, my friend?
Tim, I'm doing better than I deserve. And I know
Good.
I don't say that a lot. I know I kind of, I usually have a different answer, but I am better than I deserve today. Today really feels like things have, and I'm not just talking about on the charts, things have really kind of lifted off in a really great way. I had a good conversation with an old friend this morning, and it's been good. How's your day going today, Tim?
It's good. I mean, so far, so good. Got my lift in at the gym, watching these charts go crazy. I'll tell you, the biggest part of the pump happened while I was getting my pump in at the gym this morning, right there between like 10:30 and 11:30. I don't know if that was a joke necessarily. It's factual. The pump really took off while the gym was happening. Put a 1 in chat if you have hit the gym today. Put a 4 in chat if you still have to get to that today. Listen, we're going to make a lot of money in this bull market, everybody, but there's no point in making a lot of money if you're not taking care of the rest of your life as well. That means your relationships, in your family, your friends, whatever you have, in your health, in the gym, in the kitchen. Listen, we want to become wealthy in everything in life, not just our pocketbook, but everything we do. So make sure everybody go in there, hit the gym, hit something, go for a run, go for a walk. Go for a roll if for some reason you can't go for a walk. Get outside and get healthy. That is a big part of making money in this market. Make sure your health is top priority. Otherwise, you'll pay a bunch of hospital bills and your wealth will diminish. T-Shroom, did you work out yet today?
Well, Tim, I was thinking about how I would answer that question.
Yeah.
I did do some squats. But mostly my workout today my touching grass, I should say, looked a little bit like this.
Okay.
I got technically touching some grass. We're having some fun here. Early in the stream. It's a visual joke. It's a joke for your eyes. No, I did not get into the gym. I did get into the gym yesterday for the first time since I have been sick. I've been sick since I was in Dallas last week. As you can tell from my voice, I'm still a little under the weather, so we took it easy yesterday on the weights, but I did get a pump in yesterday. And more than likely, we'll go back to the gym today, Tim, to do a little bit of leg day.
Come on. Leg day Friday. You're one of those guys. Good. Listen, leg day, just hit legs. That's my urge to everybody. Real men hit leg day. We already know real women hit leg day. It seems like their favorite day. But real men hit leg day. We need a T-shirt. T-shirt. We need to get on that. We found that T-shirt guy in Dallas. We need to get that. All right, let's go ahead. Let's talk crypto, everybody, because there's a lot to talk about. Let's go to my screen and take a look at the bubbles here today. Biggest gainer of the day is Pol. What is Pol, T-Shroom? It's Poly Market.
No.
Poly Market.
Polygon.
Polygon. I said it with such confidence, too. That's how you know it's good. Polygon. Of course, Pol is the new ticker because they're transferring from Matic to Pol, but it is up 12.7%. You do love to see that one. Popcat, I mentioned the other day that there's a chance that I was going to sell my Pol or my Matic in for other things. I hadn't done it yet. And I'm very glad I didn't because we got a nice pump today. Popcat is also up 12.6. I don't own Popcat, so no gains there. I do own Chainlink up 6%. You guys can see it was up there as well, making some big moves for the first time in a while. Ordi is up 7.4. Tau is up 9%. Pepe 7.2. We got a lot of green here today. A couple coins are in the red. You got WorldCoin. It was big yesterday. It was up to the upside. FET and Aave had recent big runs, so it's not a big deal that they're in the red today very slightly. Why? Because they kind of started big moves a couple of days ago and everything pauses and cools off for just a little bit. And that's ultimately what we're going to be discussing today, T-Stream, as we look at a lot of the big movers and the big moves that crypto's making to levels we haven't seen in a week or more. And it's getting people really bullish. The real question is, are we bullish for good reasons, or is it time to take some profit? Let's go check out Bitcoin chart. Bitcoin up here rivaling $60,000 here on the daily chart. If you had been watching our channel for the last couple of days, we talked very, very bullishly about this dip and how much we love it. One of the reasons why I love it is because we mentioned on a lot of coins, it's more evident on altcoins than it is necessarily on Bitcoin, but this was a relatively low volume bottom position. But what I love seeing as I come to lower time frames is these bigger moves we got earlier today. Well, a lot of times you'll see volume mark bottom positions. This volume actually marked the confirmation of the biggest move right there, again, around 11 o'clock. Right between my workout schedule. Seeing that high volume come in during a buy. Excuse me, my voice is scratchy. Got to stay hydrated, everybody. Got to keep the voice good. Got to keep the body flowing. That volume coming in during a pump, what that communicates, anyone who's wondering why volume spikes, it spikes when there's a heavy amount of buying and selling happening. But when it encompasses a large candle to the upside and it's a large green volume, that means there wasn't necessarily a lot of selling. That's confirmation the bulls are buying. So that's a very good and positive sign we're seeing on some of these lower time frames. I got to clear my throat there. Goodness gracious. I don't know what's scratching it right now. But the question is going to become, is it coming to an end? When we start to turn on Lux Algo indicators, the best trading tool out there, you can find a link for it down in the description below. We're hitting some take profits on the 1 hour chart. Our oscillator is even kind of giving us some reversal flashes, right? Our Lux Algo oscillator did give us a red reversal. Our oscillator starting to kind of slowly curve over, kind of saying it's coming to a little bit of a breaking point. And our money flow, it's still positive, but it's slowing down how positive it is. Moving over to other oscillators that we have, the RSI is giving us some 1 hour flashes of being a little overbought. A lot of times this encompasses at least a pause, if not a pullback. But let's check out what larger time frames potentially are saying. Let's go out to the 4 hour chart. We'll start with just the regular indicators, where here as well, both 1 hour and 4 hour, we have hit our take profit levels. Technically, there's a little room left to the upside around 60,300. That continues to be interesting, but we are hitting those take profit levels on the 4 hour chart. The oscillators are not necessarily flashing sell the way that the 1 hour is, but they are showing that we're slightly overextended. For example, the 1 hour chart, we're seeing some mild overbought levels, and also RSI up here closer towards that 70. Not saying it has to be done, but it is saying there's less room to the upside on these indicators than there is a lot of bullishness left. What keeps me optimistic, though, about the long-term move is that the daily chart, we had the major daily buy signal that we had been waiting for a while, and it is still showing us we could make it at least up here towards $61,000, if not pushing closer towards 63, and I think that will still happen. What you need to be aware of, though, is that these time frames communicate different things. You can have a more bearish 1 hour chart, implying that the shorter time frames are probably going to have maybe a mild little pullback and stay bullish on longer time frames like the daily chart, where in reality, if I were to explain this, what the significance, I always like to use time frames in the sense of they'll probably tell us a lot about what the next 12 to 24 candles look like, right? So if I'm working on the hourly chart, that tells me I'm looking at about 12 hours to a day, right? That's about the time frame the 1 hour is telling us. So what I'm depicting from a 1 hour chart being a little overextended is that possibly over the next 12 hours to 24 hours, we might see a pullback. In fact, we probably should see some form of a pullback. It's not guaranteed, but at least a pullback back down, let's say to like a 15-minute support level, maybe back down here towards 58.7. I'm going to show you on liquidity charts a potential, I'm not going to say disaster scenario, but a larger pullback scenario. But there's a lot of evidence to say on these lower time frames, we're very overbought at the moment. And unless we see some major volume come back in, which it looks like it's kind of wearing off, a small correction looks to be in order. But on the daily chart, where we're still seeing major buying pressure, this is telling us what could happen not over the next day, but what could happen over the next 2 to potential 4 weeks. So 2 weeks to an entire month into the future, we're still seeing overwhelmingly positive movements on the Bitcoin daily chart. So for that reason, people should not necessarily be freaking out. It's more like if you're in a scalp trade, it's possibly time on like a 1 hour chart to go ahead and look for your profit and look for a lower level to potentially re-enter into this bullish rally. Now, I told you guys there's a potential chance that there could be a larger pullback, and I want people to be aware of this. I'm not even necessarily going to predict it, but I'm not going to do you the disservice of just moving over a potential bearish indicator and not letting you know it's existing. Right now on our liquidations chart over here on CoinGlass, there is bright yellow down at 57,300. If we were to do that, we're dropping I'm not going to say far, but back down below levels that we just found as support yesterday. We had a nice level sideways boring price action back up here at 57,700. But what it's kind of saying is, do we come back down to the 1 hour smart trail? That is definitely in the cards as a potential pullback. I'm not convinced it's going to happen. And I want you guys to know, just because you see liquidity below you does not mean it will be revisited. For example, if I were to go all the way out to the 1 yearly chart after this loads, you'll see that we have liquidity down at 26,000. Does that mean that we have to go all the way down to 26,000 and fill those orders, or remove all those long positions? Absolutely not. We don't have to. In fact, during a bull market, it's very common to leave heavy liquidations down below you. But the reason why the 24-hour one's a little bit more significant, and I'm definitely aware of it, I definitely would buy more at that level, is because we are pumping right now in anticipation of something that probably will not happen until Wednesday. Like, the real details of why we're pumping is what's going to happen at the FOMC meeting on Wednesday the 18th, where the Fed looks like they're going to be cutting rates. I'm going to talk about that here more in a second. But ultimately, there's still a lot of reasons to be bullish, but volatility is going to continue to rear its ugly head. It's going to confuse you. It's going to manipulate you. What you need to do is just be ready for it. Ultimately, if you're a scalp trader, maybe you're looking for some profits right now and you're looking for a little bit of a dip to re-enter. If you're a swing trader or a long-term investor, continue to hodl on, because those larger time frames still show us a lot of room to the upside. And if we're being very honest, ladies and gentlemen, if you want to know my honest opinion, I think that we're not only going to be getting up into this daily smart trail. I want to make sure we break it before I get too bullish, but I do think that we are on our way to recapturing a major level of resistance. This purple line, $65,000, the line that would allow us to, for the first time since back in March of this year, set a higher high and change this bearish trend into a bullish one. But I don't want to call it too early. I don't want to invest like that's a sure thing. I'm hopeful. I'm optimistic. I feel good about it, but I still want to watch all of the levels of resistance get beaten out. We are seeing some positive signs of that happening. Now, before we move on to other coins, and T-Shroom, we got a lot of coins to look at because the markets are pumping pretty well today. I do want to talk about a potential disaster scenario. Yes, we are positive. It's Friday. We're positive every single day, but especially on Fridays. We like to leave everyone on the weekend with that happy, go into a long weekend, spend time with your family. You're optimistic. There's good feelings, good vibes all around. But there's something I definitely want you guys to be prepared for the just in case. We have talked about this a whole lot. We've mentioned it probably every single day we've had a live show for the last month and a half at the very least. But it's going to come down to interest rates coming out next Wednesday, the 18th. We're going to get a cut. That's all but certain at this point. No matter what you're looking at and who's predicting it, very few people on the planet are denying that we will get a rate cut of some kind here next week. The question, though, is how great of a rate cut, and what does that mean for the crypto and traditional finance markets? We have said on this channel that I believe a 25 basis point cut communicates strength and a soft landing and should be bullish for cryptocurrency prices. A 50 basis point cut, on the other hand, communicates fear and concern that a recession could be coming and could get pretty ugly. And it's an aggressive move to try to tackle it early. But that fear trickles into the markets. People get concerned and they begin to sell their assets. Well, what I'm saying here is ultimately, why should you be a little bit concerned about what's going on? Let's go check a look at what the CME futures tool is saying, and then we'll take a look at poly markets. Earlier today, we actually saw for at least an hour the 50 basis point prediction from the CME group went above 50% to 51. Now it's changed back here to 51% saying 25 basis points, 49% saying 50 basis points. But as a whole, you should kind of see this as CME is saying it's a 50-50 chance. When you go over and look at poly market, it's a little more optimistic about 25 basis points. It's a 62-37 split with, I don't know who the 2% over here that's predicting no change, or let alone the less than 1%, but still somebody is predicting a 25 basis point rate hike. That person's going to lose some money, whoever they are. It's a little more optimistic, but closer than we have ever seen this on poly market, closer than we've ever seen it here in CME futures. This is something that you need to be aware of, but I told you it's Positive Friday. I'm going to leave you with a little positivity. I'm actually not that surprised that this is getting interesting. You want to know why? Because if you watched our show yesterday, you remember when T-Shirt and I did our little lock sounds, and it like that. I gave you guys a lock yesterday that we're going to get 25 basis points. And I firmly believe that that lock is going to hold up. However, we still have 6 days as of yesterday. We had 6 days still until an actual decision. If everyone believes that the interest rates are going to be 25 basis point cuts, then that's a very easy and simple buy signal. The markets are easily going to go to the upside. They're going to explode to the upside. People aren't going to wait until we actually get the cut. They're going to buy in early thinking they'll beat the rest of the space. They've got to keep things interesting. Remember, the composite man will always try to gain as much money as possible and keep you from gaining as much money as possible. So a lot of times they do mess with certain features, put out certain articles, mess with sentiment to make sure that people aren't getting, the retail investors not getting the best end of the deal. Their friends, they're the ones that get the best end of the deal. And so when it's so obvious that there's nothing between now and Wednesday to change Jerome Powell's mind about how great of a cut he wants to have, and every data point we've seen is suggesting that the right move is a 25 basis point cut, we got to still manipulate details and mess with people's emotions to convince them there's a chance of 50 basis points so that people don't get so bullish. Now, I want you to know, a proper risk assessment would say you still remain cautious. You don't cash all in. You don't go take a mortgage on your house. You don't take every dime you have in your bank account and go all in on crypto right now. That's not what I'm saying. So if anyone's listening and thinking Tim is saying it's a sure thing, 100% deal that we're getting 25 basis points, that's not what I'm saying. But I do believe it's greater than 50%. I do believe this is a little bit of further manipulation to stop retail investors from going long on these assets. Why? So that the BlackRocks and the Fidelities and the VanEck and the institutions and the whales and all of their friends and their wealthy individuals, they can buy these dips and get the most profit possible. It's all a game, and learning how to play the game and invest accordingly is the trick to creating generational wealth. We will continue to monitor this as the week comes out. But I'm holding my lock. If anyone's asking, Tim, do you change your mind from yesterday about 25 basis points? Heck no, it's still a lock. We're going to get 25 basis points. It's going to be bullish. Last thing I'll say here. We'll teach you, let me hit your take, and then I'm going to tell people what I think price is going to do between now and Wednesday and then thereafter. But give me your take. Any thoughts you have about this close call right now, this borderline 50-50 prediction from CME about how deep of a rate cut we get?
No, I'm gonna have to unlock, Tim. I have to unlock. No, not really.
Uh-oh.
No, I'm keeping it locked in where I locked it in at 25 basis points. You know, I really don't. I think the PPI data was what's kind of changing things up. I don't see. I mean, I do see what kind of critics are saying about how it was a little bit, more than folks were expecting. But at the end of the day, 25 basis points is what makes the most sense, right? Because then, if I'm Jerome Powell, if I do 25 basis points and things go haywire and unemployment, starts to really ramp up, then I can go ahead and do 50 basis points, right? But I would
Yeah.
much rather be in a situation where I haven't used the big guns yet, right? But still take that step to be proactive in loosening up the interest rate for the labor market. I think it makes all the sense in the world, judging by the cool hand that Jerome Powell has used thus far in his career. I think that the markets are getting it right here, 25 basis points.
Yeah, and I'll tell you this. I just saw someone, Jenny DeWitt. DeWitt, I don't know how that one's pronounced. ECB just did 25 basis points. Economic people here say USA probably will cut 50. Tisha, you mentioned the only thing that's really changed over the last 48 hours about any type of data, and it's the last piece of significant data we're going to see, is the PPI numbers. Let me explain why that actually is not a good reason to say that we should go 50 basis points. When the Fed is cutting, they actually right now are not looking at inflation as the most important data point. It's actually jobs, right? Higher inflation would be more of a reason to not be aggressive, right? The higher the inflation numbers, the higher the PPI, the higher all of the inflation details are, the less you want to go aggressive, right?
Right.
They have a dual mandate. If anyone doesn't know about how the Fed works, they have a dual mandate to balance the inflation of the currency with the unemployment rate. And what you're looking at is the lower the inflation, the more confident they feel about how their tactics are working. But if that low inflation brings a massive rise in unemployment, that is what brings recession. That's what scares them into saying, well, inflation's under control, but we got to cut dramatically because jobs are in trouble. But what we saw with the PPI data is that the jobs report came out as expected. It's not getting necessarily worse according to data. So I don't think people are even necessarily viewing that data point correctly. It's actually, you could say, if the PPI data had come in extremely low, if inflation had smashed and gone crazy, crazy low, like all the way down to 2%, and jobs stayed still, then there's an argument to be made that we should have a 50 basis point cut. But with inflation not being at the total target, but kind of doing well, with unemployment in theory on the data side not being out of control, it's time to cut rates, but it's not time to freak out about it. It's not time to go dramatically. You don't want to stop the momentum that you have with getting rid of inflation. You want to keep it going. So you go very moderate, very slow. Mm-hmm. Everything logically and everything that Jerome Powell has told us to this point is leading us to 25 basis points. It's too easy to allow people to believe that. We got to confuse them. We got to throw a bunch of nonsense at them and make them FOMO at certain times and FUD out at other times. Ultimately, though, stick to the details, understand what's actually being communicated, and you're going to be okay. Let's talk about what I think the price of Bitcoin is going to do as we are talking right now, working to break through 60,000 again for the first time since back here on August 29th. So it's actually been a couple weeks since we saw 60K. That being said, I want to take you back. I want to take you back to another event, right? So while I'm setting this up, the cuts are going to be bullish if they're 25 basis points. And I just gave you guys a long monologue on why I think it's going to be 25 basis points. So let's just focus on that. 25 basis points. It's coming Wednesday. It's going to be bullish. How do you respond to something like that? Well, a lot of times people buy the move early. It's called buy the rumor, sell the news. We'll rally into Wednesday. Wednesday, more than likely, will be a pullback of some kind, despite the fact that the news is positive. Jerome Powell's positive. We got the 25 basis point cut. It's all going to be good, but we're going to pull back, confusing everybody. And then a couple of days later, we're going to rally. You want to see a situation that's very similar to that? Let's go back, T-Shroom, back to January of 2024. T-Shroom, what happened January 10th of 2024? You are muted, so it's beautiful, but I'm sure it was very intelligent. I just need to hear it.
ETFs for Bitcoin went live on that day, the Bitcoin spot ETFs.
Were Bitcoin ETFs long-term bullish or bearish?
I see where you're going with this now. They were long-term bullish, Tim.
Yes. Let's take a look at what Bitcoin was doing up to that point, right? So let's just put our line right here. The 10th is right here. Boom. All right. Look at the months and weeks leading into the Bitcoin ETF. It is all positive. There's very few bad days in this time period. Bitcoin buyers just went crazy, even though it hadn't come out yet, right? It's called buy the rumor. What happened, though, right here when it actually got accepted and we started trading? Well, we did have a small spike up to 49,000. And then over the next week and a half or so, the prices came to the downside, causing many bearish people to come out and say, see, we told you Bitcoin ETFs, they're terrible. They're going to ruin the Bitcoin price. We predicted this perfectly. But in reality, all this was we had so much bullishness since October. So we had like over 2 months of bullish price action in anticipation of events. It came. The retail went to try to buy more, but the whales and institutions said, ha, 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 great opportunity. Let's short the market. Let's make them buy the top. Let's freak them out. Let's crash the market over the next week and a half. And then we'll buy the bottom back at 38,000, get ourselves a nice $10,000 discount on Bitcoin. And then this was a bullish event. It will continue to the upside. What's my overall point here? I don't know if it's going to take a whole week and a half. I'm not predicting the timeline here, but I am predicting a repeat where we have been rallying since this pullback on September 7th. I believe we will sustain a rally. I'm not saying we don't pull back at all. I'm not saying we don't have volatility within daily candles, but the daily candles will remain either pretty decently sized white or bullish, and maybe a candle here or there that's a very thin blue one, like back here on September 11th. Either way, we're going to keep rallying, and then on Wednesday the 18th, right here, boom, do not be surprised to see a bearish candle. Do not be surprised if the 19th is a bearish candle as well. I'm not 100% certain how long it'll pull back, but there will be a level of buy the rumor, sell the news. But the news is still bullish. It'll do its volatility dance. It'll shake out the average retail investor who has no idea what's actually happening. They don't know how to predict what the next move looks like. They just buy and sell emotionally, and they'll buy based off of good news, and that'll be the top, and then they'll sell because they're down $1,000, $2,000, $3,000 in their investments, and they'll end up selling the bottoms right back to BlackRock, and then price, it'll just do its little dance back to the upside. Oop, I got my marker. It'll do its dance back to the upside, and we'll be hitting new all-time highs before you know it. That's my prediction on what price is going to look like. Do not be surprised to see the volatility and the chaos surrounding Wednesday the 18th. It's happened before. It's more than likely going to happen again. Yep. Don't be fooled.
Tim, I really liked this tweet here from Bitcoin Magazine. It said, stop selling your Bitcoin to MicroStrategy and BlackRock. Don't feed the whales. I love that. That's so funny. It's perfect. But yeah, no. Tim, it is so, and I'm not just saying this, because this is our channel. It is so valuable what Tim just said. Like, this is categorically bullish, right? A Fed cut, we've been saying this for months, right? So you're probably tired of hearing T-Shroom say rate cuts are bullish. It's extremely important to remember, just because something that is categorically bullish happens doesn't mean that the market manipulators can't come in and try to trick all the retail and say,
play their little games.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So 60,000, I think Bitcoin just dipped back into 60,000 briefly. Tim, we've got an interesting development here. So on the front page of CNBC.com here right now, of course, the top story is something about Boeing, but if you scroll down just a few minutes ago, Bitcoin nears 60,000 as consumer sentiment hits 4-month high. CNBC Crypto World. So this is right now circulating, getting a lot of eyes, a lot of attention, and this is just a straight up bullish headline, right? Take notice that it's not saying Bitcoin nears 60,000, flush coming soon, right? Is 58K next, or it's just straight up bullish, even adding a bit here about consumer sentiment. So there's strength, there's power in this move. It is what this headline is attempting to communicate. Tim, this is the second time. Yesterday we had a comment from BlackRock, right, being very bullish on Bitcoin, which you don't get even every month. There's not even one of those every month. Today we're seeing CNBC, TradFi Media, I should say, get behind this rally in Bitcoin. I think what we're seeing here is there's a good chance. What I'm seeing, we sit here, we watch the market every day, the media every day. What I'm kind of seeing is that the mainstream TradFi media is ready to go ahead and get behind this rally. They brought the boat back. It's been painful. A lot of retail fudded out, but now they're ready to go ahead and push the boat higher up. 83, 85 could be next up, could be here a lot sooner than we thought. Now, don't get too crazy. That doesn't mean you just, like Tim said, don't go triple mortgage your house or do something stupid, right? But this could be the moment where those who have hodled are rewarded. That's what I'm trying to say. So it's very bullish, Tim. Very bullish moment.
Yeah, here's what I'll say. But I want to make sure people understand. Remember I said earlier, we there's a chance on very smaller time frames, like maybe the next 12 to 24 hours, we do get some form of a pullback. I think there's some liquidity around 60,300. There's some interesting levels to say we could get there. Don't be surprised if there's a small pullback tomorrow. If there's a small pullback at some point this weekend. Why? Because even that article, what it said was sentiment is at the highest it has been in 4 months. That's not necessarily a great thing. I want to make sure you guys understand this. News, especially news that communicates opinion, and sentiment is opinion. It might be a data point that's saying we're collecting a fact that most people are bullish right now. It's still an opinion to have positive sentiment. It's an opinion to have negative sentiment. A lot of times articles, I don't know why it's so good at this, but it's part of the composite man theory. On days where you see increasingly optimistic and positive sentiment, that usually marks a small top of some kinds. And times you see articles of overwhelmingly pessimistic takes, bad opinions, the sentiment's doing poorly, you're probably reaching a local bottom. And I'm not saying that this is going to be the top and this is like, oh, that's it. I'm selling all my Bitcoin and going out. I'm saying some of you are going to probably buy, even tonight. You're going to say, oh, I want to get in on this before it's all happening. Don't be surprised if the price does go to 57.7, 57.3. That doesn't mean that this rally's over. It means that we're in a volatile market. That is what you get when you're in Bitcoin, when you're in cryptocurrency. You embrace the volatility. So just be prepared that it doesn't mean you'll see nothing but bullish candles. There will always be some form of a shakeout because the lower scalp traders who don't care. Let's be very honest, guys. There are people with a massive amount of money right now who could care less about the future of Bitcoin price. They don't care about what it does for the planet. They don't care about your $100,000 or $200,000 or $500,000 prediction for Bitcoin. They care about making money. They have mastered the ability to completely remove emotions from their takes, and they trade your emotions and they steal your money from you. I encourage a lot of you guys to buy and hold. Buy and hold. If you want to scalp knowing that chaos and volatility happens. Look for those moves. Buy dips, sell peaks. That's how you get that's how you get productive. If you want to learn more about that, our VIP trading group is a great place to be. Check out the membership options down below. We teach all of this kind of psychology on the day-to-day basis. I talk you guys through things, answer questions. If you're in the VIP trading group, comment in chat. Let people know how everything over there goes. Love that group over there. All right, T-Shroom. Let's keep going on here. I want to make sure we have time to go through some impressive altcoins today. I'll probably incorporate that into Q&A. Across the two platforms right now, I think we have almost 600 people watching on YouTube, over 300 people on X. We have almost 1,000 people total when you combine the two of them in here. Whatever platform you're watching on, go ahead and smash that like button and hit subscribe and follow. We are a fast-growing channel, but we need your help. If you learn from us on the daily basis, if we are able to encourage you and help you along your path in investing, just smash the like, hit subscribe. It's absolutely free, and it helps us out a lot to get the word out to more and more people. T-Shroom, let's continue on with the news as people do that, smashing the like.
Absolutely. Now, what I will say really quick while we're on the note of liking and subscribing is a lot of folks will say, YouTubers will say, hey, I can see the data behind the scenes. YouTube gives you a lot of data and analytics. It's true. We can see. We actually have a higher than average amount of people that are subscribed to the Investing Bros, and we thank you for that. There's nobody to thank but the bros for tuning in and subscribing. There is still a non-zero percentage of you who do return, and YouTube tells us this. You return, and you don't subscribe. It confounds the YouTuber to try to figure out why this is, but we'd really appreciate it if you did go ahead and subscribe. It helps us out a lot. It helps us reach a wider audience. And at the end of the day, that's really, really good. So let's go ahead and get into some of the stories here. We're going to start off with one of the bangers of the altcoin world right now, and that's this here. Polygon, POL, is on the rise as Binance lists following its migration from Matic. So if you've been a holder of Polygon, you've probably seen some chaos in your wallet. Am I supposed to transfer to pull to Matic? Jump in the Discord if you're still having issues with that. We will help you out. There's a free Discord as well in the same place that you can sign up for the Brolux memberships. But Tim, just how bullish is this? We've been in crypto a while. We've seen when coins get listed on Binance. How bullish is this? And is there a chance that there's kind of a nothing burger here?
Yeah, I'll tell the deal with Pol, and I had a comment the other day that I didn't sell everything, but I said this is one I'm considering on Pol, moving my money from Pol into something else like Arbitrum and Optimism. Go over to my chart. This is what the Pol chart currently looks like. It doesn't have a lot of days on it whatsoever. This is on Coinbase. Had a nice pump today, but that's mostly because there's not that there's anything special about what Polygon is doing, other than it had some news on a day where things flipped to being very positive. You still can look at Matic. I encourage people to keep their eyes on what's happening with Matic because it's going to keep us around for a while. I don't know when the transfer happens and they kill the Matic ticker. But one of the reasons why it's pumping is not just because there's news, but it's also opportunity. Look at this right here. We reached levels here over the last couple of days that we hadn't seen since June of 2022. Right, even other bad projects that are not performing well, like Cardano. People love to poop on Cardano. I love Cardano, but I'm not going to lie about it and say it's not doing well. It did not break the lows that it had back in September of 2023. Right, it still held above them. Polygon is so far down. This is Matic, but it's the same chart. It's so far down that you get yourself in the news. You have this change. It's a bullish day. There's just a lot more money to be made on not a significant movement, but just a bounce back up into relevance that you can make a lot of money here with Polygon, with Pol. That being said, I don't think that people should look at this and say, is this a movement that communicates that Polygon is back and it's going to emerge as the top cryptocurrency in this rally? No. This is a coin that's dramatically down. I'm not saying it's dead. I'm not saying it doesn't get to new highs, but I am saying it's getting beaten on a lot of analytics, T-Shroom, by its competitors like Optimism and Arbitrum. It's being bought up like crazy right now because the price fell so dramatically. So don't read too far into it. Don't think this is the beginning of something crazy special and Polygon is the greatest thing since sliced bread. There's a lot of scenarios that lead to this bounce, and it's not anything that necessarily communicates long-term massive success.
Right. This is not I agree, this is not some kind of huge breakout NVIDIA moment for Polygon.
Yeah.
Right? Polygon has been desperately oversold, and it's getting some relief. It's a relief rally. Am I bullish on the coin? I think it'll do well, right? I just don't think it's going to be any kind of special innovation that nobody was anticipating, and now there's a huge vacuum, and all the value is just going to pour into the Polygon. It's good. It's a good project. It's very solid. Has a great use case. Has a great track record. But it's not NVIDIA. It's not Bitcoin. It's not something super special.
I want to make sure I'm very clear here. I'm not saying that Polygon will lose you money, but I'm saying there's other projects out there that are better fundamentally and will make you more money. So why not go ahead and explore those ones, right? That's kind of the argument that I'm going to be making to people. If you hold Polygon, go for it. Continue to hold it. You will make some money.
Yeah. There's some people, because this is far from the first time we've talked about Polygon and the migration and everything. There's some people that are very bullish on Polygon still. So don't get it twisted. And these are people that probably know more about it than we do, right? So, we're covering the news here. Speaking of which, let's go on to the next story here. Kraken takes a stand against the SEC, the Securities and Exchange Commission, the financial regulator here in the United States. Kraken's challenging the SEC's claims that its assets, like Cardano, are unregistered securities. They argue these don't fit the legal definition and use the Howey test to back it up. Kraken also slams the SEC for overreaching and confusing rules. Ripple and Coinbase are backing this critique, highlighting the ongoing regulatory chaos in crypto. For us, it's a clear sign that clarity in the space is still a long way off. That's from Cointelegraph, this information here. So, Tim, we won't spend too much time on this, but if you're newer to crypto, if you're newer to investing, Kraken is doing your work for you. They're in Washington, taking a stand against the SEC. and getting into a legal battle on your behalf, on behalf of the interest group known as people who are bullish on crypto, right? Is this going to rock crypto prices? No, right? This isn't going to send them higher. It's also not going to send them lower. But it is good to know, if you're just getting into crypto, that it is far, far from regulatory clarity, especially if you're not Bitcoin or Ethereum. So, Tim, any comments on that? We can just keep moving along if not.
No, I think it's good. Someone asked, what's their price prediction on Matic? We're going to go with 0 for Matic. Now, what's my price prediction on Polygon? I think Polygon can go back to highs. I think it could get closer, go to $3. I'm not saying it can't. I just think other things have better returns left in them. So that's what's making. I'm not selling it yet because, again, right now it's a good time to stay in Matic. But Polygon, once it gets rolling and it gets a little higher, I think I'm going to look for a switch into Optimism and Arbitrum for some bigger moves in the layer 2 solutions for Ethereum.
Yep. Before we get to the next story here, NCR is asking a Investing Bros related question. It says, if I buy Lux Algo, I will get into VIP Discord for free.
Yeah, so the way this works, if you purchase LuxAlgo with our link, there is an option in Discord. You can let us know. You can give us your email you signed up with. We have 8 ways to find out who signs up with our link. You become what we call a VIP trader, meaning you get access to the Discord, you get access to the private streams. You don't get access to all of the perks that, say, like the Pro Bros members get. There's certain features and access to myself, Teach Room, and Crux you don't get. But if you want to up your level, you don't have to buy, like if you want to become a Pro Bro and you have LuxAlgo, you don't have to go buy Pro Bros and have LuxAlgo. We make it so that you can package systems. And I think there's more information in Discord. But for example, if you have LuxAlgo and you buy the basics, you get upgraded to what's called VIP Traders Plus. And that's the equivalence of being a Pro Bros member. So yes, absolutely. One of the ways to be a part of our community is purchasing LuxAlgo. You also, of course, then get that amazing trading tool. But yes, if you want to be one of the Pro Bros, there's ways to combine it and actually go higher up in the memberships. We want to make sure we help you guys as best as we can. So good catch right there, NCR legend. You absolutely get into the group with your LuxAlgo purchase.
Tim, probably the most bullish story of the day. Breaking: MicroStrategies just bought 1.11 billion and now holds 244,800 Bitcoin, worth just under $15 billion, Tim. Outrageous. Bitcoin's MicroStrategy is $4.78 billion in profit on its Bitcoin holdings, and there's a man who deserves a good smile. Michael Saylor, what a legend at this point. He's just, dude, he will be the richest person in the world if Bitcoin does what a lot of the bulls think is possible for Bitcoin. Tim,
now I'll tell you this: when you say it's the biggest bullish news of the day, it's a little bit of a nothing burger in terms of yours and my pocketbook and everyone listening here, right? Why am I saying that? Well, if Michael Saylor was known for being the best buyer of Bitcoin, buying every single bottom, then this would be majorly bullish. But a year ago, there was actually a kind of a meme that's like he bought every single top. Let's make sure you understand. Michael Saylor could give 2 farts, or probably couldn't give 2 farts about your opinion of whether it's a good buy or not. This is a man who just buys and buys and buys and buys. If the price is high, he buys. If the price is low, he buys. If the price is boring, he buys. If the price is interesting, he buys. So he's not a signal whatsoever to us about what the next move for Bitcoin is.
Right.
It's just a man who understands the future of Bitcoin and buys any chance he can get. The only bullishness I'll tell you is that when Michael Saylor and MicroStrategy purchase Bitcoin, that is Bitcoin that's going to be locked up and not sold for a very long time. Right. So you just took all of that supply and you removed it off the map. That part is bullish. But him specifically buying $1 billion, that's not a market-defining indicator that tells us anything about where price is about to go. It'll be volume. But the other thing to think about here is, and maybe he's part of this pump, he also, I think, finds ways to purchase things over the counter. I've definitely seen places where he buys massive amounts of Bitcoin and then price falls in the same day. And it's because it didn't affect the volume whatsoever he bought over the counter. So make sure when we say this is bullish information, it's bullish in the sense of that's $1.1 billion of Bitcoin that is not going to be sold for a very long time. But it's not bullish in the sense of he's a master dip buyer, because that's not what he cares about whatsoever.
Absolutely. Right. And some of you are sitting there thinking, wait, what is over the counter? How can I get my hands on over the counter? You probably can't, is the short answer.
It's hard. You got to know some people.
Over the counter is the process of trading securities via a broker-dealer network as opposed to a centralized exchange like the New York Stock Exchange, right? So this is, this is exclusive to very rich, very wealthy folks, such as a multinational corporation like MicroStrategies and Michael Saylor. So,
yeah,
you'll get there one day. I'll
tell you, some people do stuff over the counter. Like, for example, if you were going to buy that hat on T-Shroom's head, we could work out a deal where you send us cryptocurrency, just exchanging like that. No centralized exchanges are involved whatsoever. We send you a hat. We broker a deal. That's over the counter by technicality. Obviously, he's dealing with it on a much larger scale. But the point is, like that transaction, T-Shroom, when someone sends us crypto directly and then we send them whatever or submit them into a group, that never affects the markets. The volume doesn't change. The price doesn't change.
Sure.
Equivalently, just in case people are wondering further about over the counter, he has found a person, a friend, or an entity who is willing, in exchange for keeping off centralized exchanges, they're going to send him the Bitcoin. He's going to send them the cash. It doesn't affect price action because volume doesn't get changed whatsoever. It just changes hands of who's holding it. That's another good description, which happens a lot in with some wealthier people in crypto.
Yes, Tim. Very, very good clarification. I appreciate that immensely. Now, we are getting the question of the day. I think this is probably the best question. How much is the hat? Well, in order to get this hat,
$147. I don't know. We don't sell the hat. That's the cool thing. The hat is not for sale.
And I was just about to explain. Well, so then the question you might have after hearing Tim say that is, how does one acquire this hat? Guys, go check out the Pro Bros tier. Get it while you can. You can see the price here on my screen right here. This is essentially the price of the hat. You buy this. And this is a monthly subscription to our Discord where you can get all kinds of trading alpha and access to an exclusive group of highly experienced investors in crypto, and you get a free hat as well. So,
and I tell you, if you want to do it cheaper, do it fast, because on October 1st, all the prices and sections are being upgraded. You'll get grandfathered in if you buy now. But there's going to be a new group called the Ultimates, I think is what we had that name. It's going to be $100 a month. And you're going to have to be a part of the Ultimates group to get access to a hat. But all of our Pro Bros members get grandfathered in at that low price to being Ultimate. So if you guys want a good deal, you want to save some money, go ahead and act now between now and October 1st.
Tim, there's a headline that has broken just seconds ago. I never thought that I would
There's a lot of breaking news here.
I would ever see this headline. Are you ready for this, Tim?
I don't think I am, but we're going to see it.
Are you ready for this? Here we go. Sam Bankman-Fried files appeal to overturn FTX fraud conviction. That is not on my bingo card today.
No, it wasn't.
This is too soon for me to try to speculate on what this could mean, but this was an interesting one. You're going to have to tune in tomorrow, Saturday. We'll be going live at 11 a.m. to see how folks are digesting this. This is crazy. If this is true, he's actually appealing the fraud conviction. He wants more spotlight, Tim. He wants more public spotlight.
Yeah, I was going to say, the evidence is so damning. I know he just died here this year, but is OJ going to appeal some of his stuff? I guess he actually didn't get convicted, so that's a bad example right there. But he got convicted of other things. I'm not going to go. I'm going to keep going because I'm going to get myself in trouble. If we come
Grasp it.
That being said, that appeal is going to mean nothing. If anything, like my head is almost like, do you really want to reopen this case and find out more about what you did? We might need to get him to prison for longer if we reopen this case.
Well, you know what? So we're only a couple seconds into this headline that we were not expecting, but what does come to mind is one of the bearish concepts of 2022 and 2023 of Bitcoin's price was FTX, right? They could be appealing the case just to manipulate the markets, just to keep prices lower for a little bit longer. I don't know. That's speculation upon speculation.
My guess is he's appealing to get less time.
Well, of course.
He wants to be let out early. Yeah.
That's, of course, his motivation, Tim.
Was that the last story of the day? If not, there is one more story we definitely need to discuss. But is that the last story that you had planned?
Indeed.
All right. Well, T-Shroom, I need you to sing the final story song, and then we will get into it. It's on my screen. But why don't you go ahead and sing for everybody?
Tell me,
the final story.
Undo. What do we got, Tim?
There we go. All right. Last story you guys need to know about. Update from Coinbase for Render. Render token migration. In a nutshell, I'm not going to read all this. That's a lot. What's happening is Render is migrating. Correct me if I'm wrong, T-Shroom, but it's from Ethereum to Solana.
Correct.
A very good move, I believe, for Render. The problem is we just had Matic migrate from being a Matic to being Pol, right, in its ticker, and Coinbase supported this migration. What it means by support is that you didn't have to do anything. If you owned Matic, don't worry about it. They're going to switch it all for you. Well, in this case, Render switching from being an Ethereum-based token into being a Solana-based token, they are not going to support it. So that means if you currently own Render on Coinbase, you have to transfer it from being Ethereum's Render into being Solana's Render. So want to make sure, warning to everyone out there who has Render. I'm one of these people. T-Shroom, I think you're one of these people. I think there's a lot of people in our community who own Render, probably through Coinbase. You will have to do that yourself. If you don't, then you might end up dead in a ditch at the end of the day. That's ultimately what happens. If you don't do this, then this happens, and this happens, and this happens, and you end up dead in a ditch. No, you'll just lose some money. You'll lose whatever. If
this seems too complicated to you, don't worry. Just jump in the Discord. We've got a free Discord. You can jump in the general. Look, we won't be mad if this is the only time you ever go in the Discord just to get your head around how to do this. Just jump on in. Make a Discord account. It's easy. It's free.
Yeah.
Jump in there. Talk to us about how to transfer your Render, and we'll explain exactly how to do it.
Speaking of, Crux just put a poll in chat. I told him to, so thank you, Crux, for this. I think Crux is going to have a lot of answers on this in his Friday Fundamentals going live right after the show. And for now, it's for all of our free Discord members, right? So jump in there for a couple of weeks. That is going to get upgraded to our basics package here in October as well. So get in there while you can. But make sure you're there right after the show in our Discord, Friday Fundamentals. It's always a great time with Crux.
Yes.
T-Shroom. Now we can get to our Factoid of the day and then get into Q&A. And we have a giveaway at the end of the show. It is Friday, so we're doing our giveaways to some of our members, especially our Pro Bros members. Yes. What do you got for us today?
Well, Norwegian Noob said, "Yeah, T-Shroom hit the thug shake." I don't know what that means, but I just like it. There's something about that just makes me want to smile. Tim, today's Factoid is brought to you by the pros of taxation. That is decrypted.tax. If you've been invested in crypto in the year of 2023 or 2024, likely you've got a lot of complex questions about crypto. Look no further than the tax pros over at decrypted.tax. It's who Tim and I trust with our personal and business tax, and you will be glad that you did. You're going to have to pay full price? You're not going to have to pay full price. 25% off when you tell them that the bros sent you. You'll be very, very glad that you did. Tim, what is the name of NVIDIA's proprietary graphics card series? Is it A, Radeon, B, GeForce, C, ROG, or is it D, Quadro? Tim, what is the answer to the Factoid of the day?
Yeah, once again, I'm not necessarily a expert in this field, so I'm going to need Nathan. I'm going to need some chat.
And Nathan just said he's nervous, so not a great sign so far.
Not good. My brain immediately went to C, but a lot of people in chat are saying B, and then French Toaster goes so far as to say, trust me. Now, it would have been a lot better if you had said, trust me, bro, because that would have been very confident sounding. Crypto Maxi says no idea, so I'm not going to go with his opinion. Username, though, Trust Toaster. That's not a good sign. If username's usually trying to throw me off. So that's a point against. But there's enough other people saying B, T-Shroom. I'm going to go with the people. They seem confident. It seems to be the overwhelmingly favorite. Nathan, there's it. Nathan says, Tim, it's B. That's all I needed. It's GeForce. Locked. There we go. There we go.
Wow. Very, very good. Very, very good. Yes.
There we go.
Yes, the sound effects have been added back to the soundboard. You may be noticing. But Tim, the fact of the matter is that GeForce, we're on the 40 series right now. If you've been paying attention, if you're a gamer Let me know in the chat right now, do you play video games? Do you know what is being discussed here with the GeForce 40 series? Tim, you got this factoid right, and it's a little bit telling that you're perhaps not a gamer, because every gamer would know the answer to this question, because they're sitting there and they get shorts pushed at them on Instagram or TikTok saying GeForce this and Radeon that and all of these things. So are you a gamer, Tim?
I'm not a gamer.
What is the last video game you played?
Oh, I mean, so I played the college football game that just came out. It's not NCAA or whatever. It's called college football, which is weird because I grew up with that. But that's it, Had to release some frustration after a week 1 loss to Vanderbilt for Virginia Tech. So, you got to get in there and beat them 100-0. That's how it works. But other than that, yeah, not a lot of time.
Warrior said 4090 for the win. He's got the 4090. Let me know if you're a gamer. I saw a lot of ones in chat. What graphics card are you rocking with? And it's okay if it's AMD. Tim, are you seeing any questions in the chat that we can jump on into?
We didn't really tell them to do that yet. So go ahead and start dropping questions in chat. A lot of people commenting about the factoid of the day. We got 268 likes on YouTube. We had about 600 people here at one point in here. So smash a like, everybody. We need to start pushing them. We need to start doing next week. We're gonna go right back to we have like goals that we'll do live trading if we hit them, because we gotta get likes up. We got the good views. Why don't you smash the like? Let's talk about some cryptocurrencies while I'm waiting for some questions, Tishu. You actually look out for some questions. Let's talk about a couple coins here that I'm loving what's happening here. Chainlink. You guys know I love Chainlink. I don't get to talk about Chainlink very often because it's just not been doing a whole heck of a lot. But they, of course, the other day had that big deal with Sony in a company called Sonium. They're making a move back up. They're getting close, though, to a level of resistance I told you guys keep an eye on. So it's going to be a very telling tale what happens here on $11.70. We predicted this rally would happen. We predicted a move up here. The question is, do we break it? Do we start to move even higher? That's what we're watching right now on Chainlink. I'm sure if we were to go to lower time frames, we're going to see some bearish pressure, right? So we are seeing overbought on the RSI on the 4-hour chart. We're seeing the take profit level on the 4-hour chart as well. So wouldn't be surprised to see a smallish pullback, but these longer time frames, I still see a lot of room to the upside out here on the daily chart. A lot of room to go up. Just crossed the 50 line over the last day and a half. MACD just crossed bullish. We had our buy signal, of course. So it's about being patient, but I do believe Chainlink's headed back up above $12 here soon. Keep an eye on 14. 14 is going to be an interesting spot to get back up to, I do believe, for Chainlink. Let's see what else is in chat.
We got. I have been accumulating some excellent questions from the bros, Tim.
Okay.
The best one so far is Warrior. He said, let's look at Aero, AERO, up like 12% today. While you're doing that, got to shout out the bros, leaving me a bunch of graphics cards numbers. This one's pretty funny. 3080, 3090, don't need a heater. 170 still from crypto stuff. But the best answer was, where did it go? It was really, really funny, Tim. And I'm going to find it. Oh, no, I don't know if I'll be able to find it.
Sorry. There was one username said, hey, Tim Warren, username here. Thank you for that clarification. If you were an animal, what would you be? Shroomy, how do you feel about being robbed? How do you feel being robbed an Oscar every year? If I was an animal, what would I be? I don't feel like that's the type of question that I should answer for myself.
Here it is.
I feel like people around me should answer that question. T-Shroom, if I was an animal, what would I be, in your opinion?
I mean, bulldog definitely comes to mind.
A bulldog. Okay.
Bulldog, maybe a like a rhino, rhinoceros.
Is that just because I'm wearing? Is that because I'm wearing gray today? Is that just?
I don't know.
Day of the color.
They're just like tanky animals, right? They're animals that you don't want to be small around. But here's so I know we're going back and forth, bros. We're whips on you. The Crux of Crypto said AMD 6900 XT Ultimate. That is pretty badass. But Jeremy said 0000. I am an investor. So Jeremy,
listen, I can post numbers in chat too, everybody.
Yeah, and then he said I'm a Chiquita banana. So I think Jeremy is taking the cake today as funniest overall comments.
Let's do Let's do aerodrome technical analysis. First thing on the charts I'm noticing here from Lux Algo, we got a buy signal here, and we broke through the daily smart trail. Let me actually turn off the order blocks here for a second. But you're going to notice right here, on the same day we broke the smart trail, we get a buy signal. As long as we stay up, that's a very positive sign. My guess is the take profit will replace the stop loss that we had from back here, and we had a sell order. So I'm expecting, now that we're above the smart trail, we're under a buy signal. I'm assuming we had a buy signal back here. Yes, we did a 4-point buy signal on Lux Algo's oscillator. The RSI is above the 50. Watch a move up into this region back towards $1, where we are seeing. Why do I have a line like that? That's not even a line that corresponds to anything. Maybe it's because I was predicting something. So don't pay no attention to that line. Actually, ladies and gentlemen, we're getting rid of that line. We are. This is TA on the spot, so I'm going to make sure I'm just aware of trends. There's actually a trend line right here. Do we have some crossover there? Yeah, it's going to be crossover right there around 90 cents. I'm not saying it stops there. I'm just saying that's going to be a level of selling pressure because it's a combination of a trend line of resistance. I'll turn that red because that's a resistance level. And my guess is that tonight at 7 p.m. when all this flips and confirms a daily close, the take profit will come in here probably around 90 cents up here to $1.19.
Yeah.
So it could go higher, but that's kind of what I'm looking at right there. Again, everything else is looking bullish. I like Aerodrome right now. It's been on a little bit of a rally. If I were to go to lower time frames, let's go to the hourly chart. Let's really go down. Local top. How do I know there's a local top? Well, big volume on this white candle right here, right? But look how small this blue candle is, and yet it still got massive volume. That means a lot of selling pressure came in. A lot of taking profit, a lot of shorts. Would not be surprised in the very least to see a pullback, probably at least back down here. I'm not going to say at least. I'm going to say, let's go 15-minute chart. Let's look at the smart chart on the 15-minute chart. 65 cents pullback. Not a big deal for this kind of a pullback, and then we can rally up. But the daily chart looking very encouraging. Very, very encouraging for a big move to the upside.
Yeah, very cool. Very cool. Let's see. A couple other questions here. Julius360 said, would you rather hold stacks versus Bitcoin for maximum ROI? It's an easy answer for me, Tim, but what do you think?
So the key part of the question there, and you can go off. Yeah, there we go. You beat me to it. The key part of the question of would I rather hold stacks over Bitcoin comes when you say for maximum ROI. Right. The answer is 100% stacks. Why? Because best case scenario, and I guess it's not best case, Bitcoin could go to like 300, 400,000 this year, but my expectation is somewhere between 175 and like 220,000. We're talking about a 3.5x at best. Stacks, on the other hand, we're probably talking about low-end 10x, high-end 20x. So if my only concern here is making more money with my investment, I'm probably going with stacks. That being said, there's a world in which altcoins don't do well. There's a world in which stacks doesn't do well. And I part of risk management, I preach to everybody, have Bitcoin as a portion of your portfolio. How much wealth you have differs on how much you should hold, right? So if you own a lot of, if you're a very wealthy person, let's just say someone who already has millions of dollars of assets in crypto, your percentage of Bitcoin holdings is going to be a little higher. But if you're the type of person in your portfolio sitting at 10,000, 5,000, a Bitcoin bull market is going to turn your 5 to 10,000 into 15 to 30,000. It's good. That's better than what you had, but it's not life-changing. You're going to want to look for projects like Stacks, like Chainlink, like AVAX, like Ondo. I'm leaving so many off, but you get my point. Yep. Ones that can turn that 5 to 10 more into like 50 to 100. Yep. That's the goal. Maybe even higher than that, right? Yep. But if I have $1 million, I'm okay with turning $1 million into only $3 million, and that's my Bitcoin investment.
Yep. My quick answer is everything that Tim just said, cosign. Now, if you're in retirement, right? Also, there are some different variables that you want to consider if you're already retired, right? You want to be taking a different kind of risk as, say, an 18-year-old, okay? Obviously. And also, if you're sitting there holding a lot of Bitcoin and you've been hesitant to buy altcoins, this is not a green flag, a green light to go flip all your Bitcoin into altcoins. Do not do that. That is bad. Why is it bad? because as a principle, if you have never bought altcoins before, the world of altcoins is there's a lot of scams and it is a slippery slope. Once you buy one, you're going to buy a bunch, right? Now, you are luckily tuned into the Investing Bros, and we're rather conservative. Talking about stacks as an altcoin, it's a pretty safe bet for the most part, right? But don't go out and think that you're going to become a millionaire with $5,000 because you're going to go all in on stacks, right? That's a recipe for disaster. The other thing to remember is just because you do that, just if, let's say you were to flip $5,000 of Bitcoin into $5,000 of stacks, doesn't mean that you're going to have the emotional experience and control to be able to sell the top of stacks. You're going to be much more emotionally attached to that investment. Okay, I said a lot there. Just in general, the summary is risk manage. But I also strongly agree stacks would be the one. If you're looking for a higher ROI, there's no comparison. Stacks will do better than Bitcoin.
T-shirt, it's 4:05, and I'm going to take one more question because it's a good one, and then we're going to do our giveaway, and we're going to wrap up the show here today. But Deacon Nick, I'm gonna answer it for you, but he said here's a challenging his question. What do you think is the first token to do a 3x from today? Then he clarified, well, not first, but first safe one. Well, there's still a lot of room there to say, well, what's the definition? Are we talking about top 10, top 20, top 50, top 100? Obviously, the one that's going to do it first is going to be one with a lower market cap. So it's easy. It's not going to be Bitcoin. It's not going to be Ethereum. It's not going to be Solana because we're talking about a 3x, right? I think they're going to do it. It's just going to take a while to do it.
Polygon.
So I mean, to be fair, that's not a bad guess. But of course, you have to be going out to like the top 50 to do that one because I think they're ranked at like 30 at the moment or something like that. When I look at CoinMarketCap and I look at coins that I like that I think could have some big moves that you should be watching for. I don't know when it's going to pop off, but when it starts moving, Chainlink is going to be a coin that does a lot of X's very, very quickly. So it's going to be one I definitely would say keep an eye on. You should be continuing to hold it. Caspa. If we find out next week that Caspa is going to be listed on Coinbase, Caspa could be the first to 3x in this bull market. Other coins I think are really going to pop. I'm not necessarily saying it's not going to, but Sui is one I think that it could pop, but I don't know about a 3x. Quick speed. I'm looking for ones that I think just have like crazy explosive potential. I think Injective could, in theory. I think Jasmine could. Pith. Don't forget Pith. Now I like Chainlink, T-Shroom, but obviously one of the bigger competitors, and it's not a big competitor. It's lower down, but it is something that does something similar. Pith is another one. Pith could almost be like a Shiba Inu. This is a weird scenario, but like Dogecoin and Shiba Inu, they're both meme coins. They're similar. They're both dog memes. But when Doge does well, so did Shiba Inu. Or another way, when XRP did well, XLM, one of their competitors, also did well. They seem to trade together. Could we see an explosive Chainlink move? But Pith also right behind it as well. Pith's one I think that could have a very explosive move. That being said, I don't have a specific answer there because it's not a defined question, but I think that answers and helps with that one. Let's do our giveaway here, T-Shroom.
Let's do it.
Got a lot of names. Look how many names here are Pro Bros members. This is one of the reasons why we are upping the price is because it's a lot of people over here. But one of them every single week wins 50. I think we have to do 2 of these, right, T-Shroom? Because we didn't do one last week on vacation.
I believe so. That's right.
Vacation. We weren't on vacation. We were at a conference. What am I saying? It was fun. It felt like a vacation because I got to hang out with T-Shroom.
That's right.
Aw, that was such an awful moment. All right, let's go. Let's hit the button. What's happening here? Who's our first winner of the day? Oh, that look. It was very close, Chameleon. I feel very bad for you because I was about to say your name, but I waited. It's Kev. Kev is our first winner of the day. Oh,
that's
I feel
rough.
so bad for Chameleon. Yeah. All right. Kev, congratulations. You are the first winner. We're going to do a second one because we didn't do one last week. Part of me just wants to move it to Chameleon, but that's not the rules. We're hitting the button.
Rough.
Number 2. Fab5. Fab5 has been extremely active in chat. Love that he is the winner here today. Congratulations to Kev and Fab5. Make sure to reach out to us on Discord. DM T-Shroom for your winnings. He will not DM you unless for some reason you already have an existing DM relationship.
I'm not going to DM you.
People. Yeah, you DM him. It's responsibilities on you. Love you guys. Go check out Friday Fundamentals in our Discord right now with Crux of Crypto. The rest of you will see you tomorrow, 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time for our Saturday morning live show. Love you guys. Adios.
Trying to make paper, turn that better to cake. Money like Lego, connect the dots stack bank. We are investing bros. We are investing bros. Army pipe, lethal on trade. Entries and exits, worthy of praise. Tim, the professor of the TA. Shout it out loud on the PA. T-Shrooms news, catch a word. Doing better than what he deserves. Beamer, leave no evidence. Soon fly coop with his dividend. Trying to make paper, turn that better to cake. Money like Lego, connect the dots stack bank. We are investing bros. We are investing bros.
Investing bros. Investing bros. Investing bros. Investing bros. Investing bros.